Hey family, Thomas Curtis here. Hey, wanted to give you guys a quick overview, 20,000 foot overview. What I want to be doing is just giving you guys this big overview of and why I'm posting things, why we're looking at stuff. We are at the biggest time in our history to make sure that our family is taken care of, our next generations are taken care of. These next 5 or 6 years are going to be the best times in our living lifetime that is going to drastically change wealth. The poverty levels are going to split. There's a lot of stuff going on. And so in this video, I just want to make sure that you guys understand kind of what I'm seeing, what's going on. So, hey, let's jump into it. Right. So over these last few months, you've seen stuff like this. You've seen stuff. Let me make this a little bit smaller. You've seen things like this. Right now, if you don't know what's going on right now, if you haven't heard of the BRICS nations, right? So 2008, once the economic crash of 2008 happened, the U.S. government shoulder tapped a big company called BlackRock. So BlackRock came and helped bail out the U.S. economy. BlackRock and Vanguard are some of the biggest companies in the world. They own 15 to 20% of every Fortune 500 company. They pretty much own everything in the world. You can look up, don't believe anything I say, look and research everything what I'm talking about. Look up RFK talking about who we are giving our monies to when we actually pay countries like Ukraine these hundreds of billions of dollars, right? We're not paying these countries. We're paying BlackRock and these other huge conglomerates and companies that they own to do things. So do your research yourself. Don't believe anything I'm saying, but this is the context that I'm coming from, right? So 2008 happened. We had this huge economic crash. The world looked and said, man, the US government doesn't know what the hell they're doing with finances or anything like that, right? So around that time, the BRICS nations was formed. If you don't know what the BRICS nations are, it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and now 20, 30 other countries have come into there. New Mexico or Mexico is trying to jump into there. Japan and all these other countries are sign up for that. So it's a big red flag, right? So if those countries sign up and are approved, it takes a while to get approved to jump into these, but you have a lot of companies fleeing to try to jump on this. But now that President-elect Donald Trump is coming back in, right? What we are seeing is things like this, right? You see him post this. I think it was a couple days ago. The idea that BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over. We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty US dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling to the wonderful US economy. They can go find another sucker. There is no chance that the BRICS will replace the US dollar in international trade, and country that trades should wave goodbye to America. So essentially, what's going on is the wave of energy, right, is kind of gone up and gone down. If you look at 2008 till now, 2012, if you don't know who Rosie Rios is, if you look at your $100 bill, she has her signature on there, right? So in 2012, she was casted to stop printing money or stop developing money. But with the Obama plan, if you don't remember, I mean, they turned on the printing machine after the debacle in 2008. So Obama came out, and I mean, if you bought a house around that time, which I was trying to buy a house around that time, they would give you like $8,000 to $10,000 just to buy a house, right? So they turned on this printing machine, and you just saw inflation rise and go crazy. So the rest of the world is looking at like, wow, the U.S. dollar, the U.S. government doesn't know what the heck they're doing. They are irresponsible with their money. So obviously, right, you see other countries forming, coming together, and coming along like this, right? Um, you see countries like this. People, we look at this stuff. You see the kind of stuff that's going on with Trump and China, and the things. China is one of the biggest developers of this BRICS nation, And this is Bricks News on X, right, on Twitter. Um, but Trump has, I mean, this is not political, guys, right? This is just me looking at a 30,000 overview footing of this and coming and seeing how we are doing our investments, while we're doing what we're doing, and seeing what's going on is going to be changing in the future. So you see things like this, Trump and Xi Jinping, they must get along, right? They must get along. There's a lot of other stuff going on. We're not going to go down those routes, but if you understand what's going on now, you can understand that these next 5 years, 6 years are going to be the biggest time for you and your family and in your living history to create generational wealth. So if you look at things like this, periods of when to go wealth, you research. I'm not going to go into this, but I mean, this is very, very, very George Trich posted this long time ago. So if you end up coming in here and you end up looking at these periods of ups and downs, right? So right here, if we're at 2005, 2007 is up, 2008, right around 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? 12 to 19, we shot up. This top line is huge times to make money, and 19 to 20, these huge economic markets right here to 2023, which we're at right now. So from now to 23 to 26, right, we're going to have a huge, you got to understand, guys, right now with crypto and everything that's changing, the only reason I'm in crypto and we're looking at it and we're pushing it is because it's just the reality of what's going on, right? In 1910, you had a bunch of, 6 people go on, if you've never read the book, The Creature of Jekyll Island, read it. It just will blow your mind. You had bankers, you had politicians. Essentially, a quarter of the wealth in the world met on this Jekyll Island secretly, right? They were going duck hunting, right? And they met J.P. Morgan, all these people. They made the Federal Reserve, right? And from 1910 to 1913, they made this push for Congress and marketing and all this stuff to make Congress initiate it. If you guys don't even know, the United States does not own the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not owned by the United States, guys. Like, it's, go down that rabbit hole. This is not the video for it. But from then to 1971, or let's go back. From then to 1929, right? We had the Great Depression. Banks ended up crashing. 1929 to 1971. We ended up having this huge economic debacle and a lot of stuff going on. 71, we came off the gold standard and we are on the fiat standard, which we are on right now, the oil standard, the petrol standard, whatever you want to call it, fiat standard that we're on now. So now we are in the current 1971, right? We are switching from the fiat standard to a digital standard, right? We are a blockchain standard where everything is transitioning. You guys got to understand, China's broke, Russia's broke, Japan is super broke, right? The US is super broke, right? So we're all going to be transitioning into this new economic field where, if you look back 7 years ago after Trump met with Xi Jinping and talked about it, that they said, hey, very soon we will all be on a level playing field. And what that means is economically we're going to be going back and forth and we're going to be going in some interesting times. So look, let's jump back into what we're looking at here, right? So right now we're at 2024, right? So 2023, 24, 25, 26. These next couple of years, we're going to be going up. If you guys can see this, from now to 26 and 26, we're going to be 26 to about 30, 32. We're going to be crashing down. And then from 32, we're going to be going really back up. So if you look at this, I mean, a lot of this, you go back, 2007, right? 2005 is when all of the mortgages went crazy. 2003 to 2005, the mortgages went crazy. Like you had ninja loans, right? You could breathe on a glass and you can get whatever, no income, no job, no assets. You can get a loan for whatever, right? So I mean, you had this crash coming. 2005 to 2007, it went crazy because you can get ninja loans. You could just talk and you can get a loan. If you watch the movie Big Short, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. 2007 to 2012, we had this huge crash, right? And then up to 2019, we just kept on growing. And then 2019, what happened at 2019? COVID-19, right? And we had this huge crash to 2023, which we're at now, right? So from now to 2026, we're coming up with a new financial system. 26, there's going to be regulations. We're going to be crashing back down because of regulations, and maybe the tariffs and all that stuff is going to have hyperinflationary item stuff going on. So we're going to crash to 2032. And then after that, we're going to go crazy. And why I like this is you got to understand, if you have a strategic plan and it's called the bear market when it goes down. Bear market, if you buy in the bear market, that's where you make your money, right? If you flip houses, you make money when you buy, right? So if you're buying in here and knowing it's going to skyrocket in the next 5-10 years, you're buying houses, you're buying assets, you're buying crypto, you're buying stuff, and you have a dollar cost average. You're buying stuff as it comes in, and you're selling once it starts coming up, so you can get realized capital, realized gains, and you are able to take those things and putting into life insurance, putting into other things, other than a bank. Don't put it in a bank, right? You can have these huge gains. You need to have a trust. We'll go into that later. But from now to 2035, so these next 10 years are going to be crucial, right? Of how you build wealth, right? And if you look at some of these things right here, Ray Dalio talks about a lot of this stuff right here. I try to read at least 2 books a month. We have a lot. Ray Dalio talks about a lot of this right now. If you don't know who Ray Dalio is, he's estimated over $20 billion. He's has one of the biggest hedge funds in the world. He wrote this book called The World Changing Order, right? And in this world changing order, he looks at the last 500 years, guys. He looks at the last 500 years of economic upturns and downturns. And when he looks at it, he looks at what caused them, what happened after, what happened during, and where we're at right now. So if you look at those things, he can see where we're at and where we're going. We are at the very end of one of the end of one of the downturns, and we are going to be skyrocketing up in the next few. So why I'm telling you guys this is because in these next couple of years, what's going to happen is you need to get your blinders on. You need to understand, hey, what's going on? You need to understand that you need to focus on your family. You need to focus on getting your shit together. You need to get right with God. You need to get right with your health. You need to get right financially. You need to get right with everything in your life, because this is going to be the most important time of your life, of my life, of everyone's life, to make sure that we get and move forward in what we are worth, right? Get right with Jesus, get right with God, make sure you have your foundation, make sure that you have all of your stuff, all your ducks in a row, because these next 6 to 7 years, 5 to 7 years, right around there now to 2032 is going to be the biggest time for you in our living history to be able to push forward, to be able to say, hey, you know what, we are, let me see, what happened? Sorry. In our living history, to say, hey, you know what, we are going forward and we're going to do something for our family. We are going to be the change in our family tree. So, I know this is a lot of information. Don't believe anything I say. Do your research yourself. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Put a like down there, or give me some feedback. I would love to hear your feedback. I love you guys. Have a blessed day on purpose.